Every time I post a community post, somebody is arguing with it. Somebody at the bottom will be like calling me a cuck or some other stupid shit, right? And so I've been posting like the most obvious shit imaginable lately to see what people argue against. Like here's one of my posts. Let me pull it up. Trump is upset about some painting, but is completely unaware that his supporters are running around calling him Jesus. Obviously, he's fully aware his supporters are doing that. But the point is, this painting thing is way less visible on a societal level than all of these trucks moving around with Donald Trump as Jesus Christ on the back. I continue. You'd think he'd want to set the record straight to save lost souls from blaspheming. I guess not. And without fail, every time there's somebody in the comments arguing with me about it. Golden calf and false prophets. He'd be insulted. He thinks he's God, right? I think that picture looks like him. These people know nothing of Christ. Yikes, these people are basically calling him the Antichrist. How can you call yourself a Bible-believing Christian and miss this? I personally believe religious people are primed to accept the Antichrist. I also believe organized religion is the work of the devil. Look, y'all do you. I'll be over here with my eyes open in the spiritual community while y'all call me a devil worshiper. Total hypocrites. Enjoy the mark. Yeah, like, I don't believe in any of this, Bible or whatever, but if I did, I would absolutely 100% believe that Donald Trump was the Antichrist. Without question. It's like somebody handed him a list of shit he needed to do to be considered the Antichrist, and he starts checking them off intentionally. Well, I can't find any of the crazies on this one, but I do have some crazies on another. By the way, the algorithm is hitting me hard right now, completely ignoring me. So I'd appreciate if you watched to the end of the video. Having increased watch time as a percentage and a raw number is what pushes the video further. Also check out my books, owenmorgan.com. All right, back to the video. All right, here's another comment thread. This one has 660 comments. Wow. I said, we aren't on our way to 1933 Germany. We are there. No hedging, no exceptions, no caveats. The Republican Party is the new Nazi party. It is time to start hiding people, or at least start making plans with the most vulnerable in your community. There is no disputing that. That is absolutely, completely, and totally 100% the fact. Nazis were very unpopular in Germany leading up to 1933. It was a protest vote to vote for Hitler. He lost the election, but he was eventually installed chancellor down the line. He was installed as chancellor by the guy that really won, Paul von Hindenburg. And it took him something like, I think, 53 days to dismantle democracy completely. It was as rapid as what we are seeing right now. And it started January 30th, I think, or 31st, 1933. Ours started January 20th, and everything started going downhill. By March, there was another special election for the Reichstag, and there was a big fire that was not started by Nazis or Hitler or whatever. It wasn't even started by communists. It was some random disgruntled guy that started the fire, but Hitler used that moment to basically declare martial law and say, these people are terrorists. The people who are opposing us, the communists, are terrorists, and we're going to round them all up. And of course, he was pretty liberal with his definition of communist. Anyway, I found some really crazy comments on this. Look at this. So I'm thinking to myself, like, there used to be a time when a lot of people would oppose anything that I said. What would it be in this case? This dude says, you should be shut down for your Trotsky-style fear-mongering and propaganda. What happened to freedom of speech? I guess that goes right out the window, doesn't it? Other than bio men not being allowed to abuse girls in sports, WTF are you even referencing? He's like conflating a bunch of... Nobody says that bio men are abusing girls in sport. What are you even talking about? You're just mixing all this up in your head. It doesn't even make any sense anymore. This trans people in sports thing is such a non-issue in the United States. It's completely irrelevant. But I went on to comment. I said, I thought you were in favor of free speech. I guess that's not the case. Somebody says, that's not even a thing. There are single-digit trans athletes. Someone else says, over 900 medals. I'm sorry. The original poster says, over 900 medals were taken away from girls nationwide last year by boys. I don't know where you get your info, but you aren't getting the facts. First of all, I seriously, deeply doubt that number. But okay, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's true. But he said medals for a reason rather than trans athletes, because they have countless tournaments in countless grades, high school and in college competition and semi-professional and professional and, across the entire world. And it doesn't matter where they're placed, 5,000th place out of 7,000 people competing. And suddenly there's a medal that gets added to this dude's calculation, trying to make it sound like it's this massive, ridiculous problem when it's not. It was never a problem. So I respond to it. He's counting anybody that's trans competing in any sport anywhere in the world. Not just that, but every single tournament, any placement. I doubt it's 900, but even if it is, wow, only 900. And people are losing their... It takes 15 minutes to count to 900. It takes 11 days to count to 1 million. It takes 31 years to count to 1 billion. And 280 years to count to 9 billion, the world population. Those 900 medals, not trans people, are starting to seem a lot less significant. Again, I want a source on that number. And every scientific study has said that 2 years of HRT negates any benefits one might have over somebody assigned female at birth. You are literally cheering for people to go to concentration camps and using this as an excuse. I was so curious how people are going to react to me saying that we're in 1933 Germany, because it's indisputable now. It is indisputable that the Nazi Party is now in control of the United States. And what did they say? You should be shut down for your propaganda. That's what they said. Okay, conspiracy theory much? Somebody says, it is reality. Someone else says, it's not a theory if they tell you openly what they want to do. And I responded, I'm not reading into things. I'm not foretelling the future. I'm not postulating what I think might happen. These things are literally actively happening. We are in a fascist regime. Here, someone else says, if you wanted to hide those who yell at others for not using their ridiculous pronouns they just made up, go ahead and feel free. Dude is coming up with a reason to hate trans people, even though this is like a caricature of what, nobody is actually doing this right now. Nobody's, trans people are not yelling at random people. This is another thing that Fox News has done to people. It's this media formula that has existed for ever. I've talked about it very recently, but you have anecdote, statistic, soundbite. You need to work those three things into what you say on a TV interview, for example. In fact, I did it here in this comment. I explained the statistic that this guy cited, and I gave a soundbite. Takes 15 minutes to count to 900, 11 days to count to 1 million, 31 years to count to 1 billion, so on and so forth. That would be a soundbite. And Fox News constantly feeds in these statistics, anecdotes, and sound bites that are warped and misleading nonstop into these people's heads. It's a constant bombardment of black and white. They're destroying everything and they hate you and they hope that you die. They hope you get cancer. I mean, the whole thing, all of it. That's all Fox News does. And so this guy, I'm reading this in good faith, assuming that he is honestly saying this. If you want to hide those who yell at others for not using their ridiculous pronouns, assuming this is good faith, I'm going to tell you, this isn't really happening. People yelling at others for not using ridiculous pronouns or whatever, this is fictitious. It's a fictitious scenario that they just made up, pronouns they just made up. That's not real. And he obviously is not taking this situation as seriously as it warrants. People are literally being sent to literal, actual concentration camps. Full-blown slave labor concentration camps, tantamount to what Germany had. El Salvador and Guantanamo Bay prisons. BS, stop spreading fear. Yes, times are here, but it is not time to hide. It's time to show up and show out. Wow, somebody upset with me for telling people they should be hiding others. Like, what? If there was somebody in my neighborhood that needed help, I would help them any way that I could. It's just wild to me that people can twist around so completely and totally and warp it into something that it was never meant to be. Now, my question is, how do we pierce this echo chamber? How do we get out of this? We're not getting out of this situation until MAGA is ideologically defeated. I don't want violence under any circumstances, ever. None. Zero. I don't want anyone's death. Don't wish that on anybody. But it took violence to get Germany out of the situation that they were in. It took violence to get Russia out of that situation. Well, I guess Russia didn't. No, the Soviet Union lasted until the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, and it didn't take violence, I suppose. Violence is oftentimes required to pull a country out of an absolutely horrific moment, and I really hope to the bottom of my heart that that's not what we need here. But when Democrats win the presidency next and win the House and the Senate and everything, there can be no more hedging or both sidesing or not trying to give the appearance of blah, blah, blah. No more of that. We need to make laws to protect democracy at all costs, no matter what. In Reconstruction during the Civil War or after the Civil War, they pardoned a whole bunch of Confederate soldiers, Confederate officers and stuff, all the way up the chain, to try to mend fences. They shouldn't have done that. They should have charged them with the crimes that they committed, treason, sedition, whatever, and given them the appropriate penalty for those charges. If they had done that all the way back then, we may not be here today dealing with a revived Confederate movement that has completely taken over everything. Yeah, I posted this to my comment section recently. God is good and the devil is evil. This dude is always in my comments every time, no matter what, he's always here. Every video, practically. It's kind of impressive. Yeah, getting fit and healthy requires effort, sacrifice, and sometimes pain, and getting a country fit and healthy is no different. It isn't? Last I checked, I could be wrong. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here. I believe that an economy is not a human being. So I think that it is different, actually. Trying to lose weight as a human being, I think that is different from building an economy to make it stronger. Am I wrong on that? Am I the idiot here? So yeah, growth can be hard, but Dems still have 3 years and 10 months to get used to it and accept it. Yeah, don't remind me. Trump is not helping. He is not slimming things down. He's not fixing anything. He's making it worse, and this is what we've got right now. Dude hanging next to Statue of Liberty, Scales of Justice, and Uncle Sam saying, this is going to be good for me. You just wait and see. No, it's not. Do you want to know what we would do if we wanted to improve this situation, make the country better, the economy stronger? Redistribute billionaires' money from the very top to the middle class. Invest it in infrastructure. Billionaires obviously are not doing that. They're sitting on their money. Government needs to tax the shit out of them until they have as much money as me and you. FDR, after the Depression, famously said, basically, jobs are hard to come by. He said, the government will be the employer of last resort. So he started this big program where anybody could work for the government and it'd pay really well, 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour, depending on what you were doing, and, adjusted for inflation. And you would be put to work, filling potholes, building bridges. Inexperienced people would be taught by more experienced people, and we would build out our infrastructure. That led to a massive boom because wealth was being injected into the lower class and building them up into the middle and upper middle class. Now they have a ton of disposable income and they're spending it. They're passing it out like Tic Tacs. That's what we need to do. Tax the out of billionaires. 90% tax rate if you make over $10 million a year. 50% capital gains tax if you have more than $10 million in stock or something and start a massive jobs program. Instead, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are destroying social programs, not taxing billionaires, destroying social programs. And by the way, destroying those social programs isn't going to fix the problem at all. It's going to make the problem much, much worse, actually. But yeah. Same as a human being exercising. Exact same process, right? Totally. Not different at all. Tell me what you think in the comments.